Good morning, everyone. Full house this morning. This is our series on Merging with Śiva, going through the lessons in chronological order, meaning the order in which the talks were given, not the order in which they're in the book. And we're up to 1967, got a ways to go. And we're in chapter 26. There's lots of chapters in 1967 about the mind. So we're in chapter 26, the subconscious mind. Lesson 182, seeing oneself in others. It is a principle on the path that until we are rather advanced, we do not really know whether we have reprogrammed the subconscious mind or not, or if the reprogramming has been done correctly. However, we do know when we create something with our hands, whether it is done correctly and carefully. We also know when it is finished, for we can see it on the physical plane. Taking a physical substance into our hands, using it carefully and systematically, and disciplining ourselves to finish that which we have begun is a powerful process. By doing this, we overcome habit patterns of carelessness and of not being able to pay attention to details. We also overcome the habit of becoming distracted. So choose a hobby or a craft. It should be something that you do with your hands that changes the form of physical objects, such as taking clay and out of it making a beautiful vase, or using yarn to weave a lovely tapestry. As soon as the subconscious mind has been positively reprogrammed, even just a little, the channels of intuition begin to open and you feel peaceful. Disturbances within your mind subside. At this stage on the path, you often wonder if you are making progress anymore. You hold a consciousness like being in an airplane going 1,000 miles an hour while holding the feeling of not moving. When you feel as if nothing is happening to you inside anymore, you are living in an intuitive state, the eternity of the moment. Your intuition is now penetrating your external mind all of the time. Wonderful. Ideal state to be in. And as Gurudeva says, it feels like nothing's happening, so if you're not used to it, you may feel that it's not a particularly high attainment, but it is, because your mind used to be spinning all the time. You've forgotten how active the mind always used to be. So this is just the mind is quiet. So we have some words from the Shumchef language relating to this state of consciousness. The words are all in the fourth dimension, so we need to know what the fourth dimension is. Simvum Kami, fourth dimension, sub-superconscious mind. Awareness cognizing the interrelated forces of the fifth, fourth, and third dimensions. From this detachment, we gain the ability to dissolve confusions, conflicts, and the various and varied entanglements that are encountered daily. The realm of artistic creativity. Here is the resting place where we look in and up and out and down. Consciousness should never go lower, but when soaring higher returns to this resting place, the fourth dimension. This dimension relates to the Kamshumalinga Rimche Nali, which means the fourth chakra. To experience the portraits within this dimension, look at the world from the chest area. So that's a very important concept if you're not familiar with it, in Shum, the inner words relate to a dimension, and the dimensions relate to a chakra, and the chakra relates to a place in the body. So if you want to experience a portrait that's in the fourth dimension, you look out from the chest area. So these are fourth dimensional portraits. Onif, the sublime vibration of a place or platform of worship, an altar outside or inside. Finding the place within yourself that is absolutely quiet. So that's like being up in the plane. In Onif, we are deep enough within that all of the forces of the mind can be seen, and we are, like the hummingbird, totally quiet. From Onif, we look out and see the forces equalizing themselves. Then we have BC, eternity of the moment felt in the middle of 3 days in the past and 3 in the future. BC means I am aware of the unreality of time and the eternity of the moment. Have you noticed that any concern you might carry always bears upon the past or the future? To dissolve any concern, therefore, all one has to do is guide awareness to the present. Sounds simple. Living in the moment in the center of 3 days in the past and 3 days in the future is the spirit of BC. Used as a greeting, meaning we meet in the eternity of the moment. And a good practice that I stress now and then is not to think about the past or the future unnecessarily. Unnecessarily means our thinking about it didn't produce anything of value. We just let the mind wander to the past and thought about it. We let the mind wander to the future and thought about it. So that's not a good practice because it keeps us out of the present eternity of the moment. So therefore, if we're going to go to the past, there should be a reason to go there. It's like looking something up on our computer. It's stored there. We have a reason. We need this information. If we're going to go to the future, there should be a reason to go there. We should be doing something productive in terms of thinking about the future. So those are good guidelines to help minimize going meaninglessly to the past or future. Go back to Gurudeva's text. When your subconscious has been cleared of past reactionary patterns and reprogrammed thoroughly, you do not take exception to things that happen in the world. In understanding, you love everyone and embrace every event. So, of course, that can be quite challenging. Because if something doesn't work out the way we don't want it to work out, it's hard to accept it. But that's what it's saying. Do not take exception to things that happen in the world. You intuitively sense just what they are all going through because you have in your memory banks knowledge of each happening acquired during all the lives you have ever lived. This becomes available to you sub-super consciously. You begin remembering when you went through the very same thing your friend is going through. It may have been a life or two ago, but you went through it all the same. Therefore, you know his next step because you know how to get Therefore, you know his next step because you know how you got out of the same experiential pattern yourself. Then you begin to know that your soul body and your physical body are becoming one. You are slowly beginning to realize that you truly are an effulgent spiritual being living on the earth. The only thing that is not spiritual, seemingly, is the subconscious mind. But that is an illusion because it has been programmed in a haphazard way. You have gone through many, many lives, having many, many, many experiences, It has collected up diverse habit patterns and erratic programming. When you attack this programming positively and work with it, the subconscious becomes a tremendous tool and is no longer the unfriendly obstacle that it was. It becomes sub-superconscious, and new energies start flowing into the physical body. New understanding begins to come from within. Your perspective in looking at life is steady now. Man has not always realized that a subconscious area of mind exists. For hundreds of years, humanity in the West believed that the conscious state was the only reality. Humanity has had religious inclinations also and believed in superconsciousness, but felt that superconsciousness was totally outside and away from the individual self. That is why God is talked of as being way up in the heaven and the angels high in the sky. These beliefs cause the superstition, religious misunderstandings, and contradictions that have come down to us through the ages. Why was God supposed to be outside the being of man? Why was God supposed to be outside the being of man, way up in the sky? It was because the subconscious area of mind was in between. From this limited perspective, man saw himself as a little insignificant nothing that has come from some place, not knowing for sure when or how he got here in this conscious state. He knew he was a kind and hateful, generous and greedy, jealous, intellectual, instinctive being. He knew that. He knows it today. That is how one gets along through life. You have to fight for what you want. You have to argue. You have to be jealous, or else how are you going to get any place? You have to be quick-tempered to dominate others. You have to scare people, get your own way, and elbow your way through life. That is the way to live when totally in the conscious mind. So we don't want to do that. Since many of you haven't listened to these talks, in Gurudeva's teachings, he's bringing up the importance of remolding or reprogramming the subconscious mind. And many teachers of yoga don't do that. They just focus on quieting our thinking mind. Because once you get into the subconscious mind, your students can go through some unpleasant experiences. But it's very important that the subconscious mind be reprogrammed. And the analogy I use is the pond of water. Oh, we have a pond of water with gold nuggets at the bottom, and the surface has ripples, and the water's muddy. So we're looking down, and of course we can't see the gold nuggets. But they're there. But there's two obstacles to our view, the surface motion and the mud in the subconscious. So the surface motion is our thoughts, and that's what yoga teachers generally focus on, quieting the thoughts through pranayama, which of course is very important. But if you manage to quiet the thoughts, then what do you see? Congratulations. Now you see the mud. So we have to get the mud out of the water. We have to purify or reprogram the subconscious, and that's where Gurudeva gives us various tools to do that. And the tools fall into two categories. One is removing the negative, and the other is adding the positive. The major practice for removing the negative is Vasanada Tantra, writing down emotional memories and burning them and watching the paper burn in an inauspicious fire. So we're de-emotionalizing the memory. The memory was disturbing us previously, and after Vasanada Tantra is successfully done, the memory's there, but there's no emotion in it. It's just a fact. So we're taking out the negative emotion and then there's various positive practices, and again, the dominant one is affirmations. Gurudeva is very strong on repeating daily affirmations. For example, the monks have an affirmation they do every morning as part of the routine right before we meditate. So Gurudeva liked affirmations being done on a daily basis. So when you do those two things, take the negative out of the subconscious, add positive, you're changing the form of the subconscious mind. Or in terms of our analogy, you're taking the mud out of the water and you're making it more positive. So it's a subconscious mind attracts. So as Gurudeva says, it's a haphazard programming initially before you systematically approach it. So you attract all kinds of things. Some positive, some negative, but you have a big magnet inside of you called your subconscious mind, which contains the karma, and so you're attracting. So when you change the subconscious mind, you change what you attract. Oh, it's a very interesting study. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.